You hear me okay? Okay. Is there a difference between this and this? No? Okay. Okay. Well, welcome to class 9. And let's go ahead and start with the opening mandala, please, Mike.
Good morning, thank you. Sashi Puki Jukshin Metotron Rirab Lingshi Ninde Gampadi Sange Shindu Mikte Uwargi Jokunam Shingla Drupasho Idam Guru Ratna Mandalakam Niryatayami.
I go for refuge until I am enlightened to the Buddha, compassion, knowledge, and strength, the Dharma, the enlightened side of truth, and the Sangha, the community of realized beings. From the virtuous merit I create, from the practice of giving with the understanding of emptiness, moral discipline with the understanding of emptiness, patience with the understanding of emptiness, joyous effort with the understanding of emptiness, concentration of wisdom, may I attain the state of a Buddha for the benefit of all living beings. I go for refuge until I am enlightened to the Buddha, compassion, knowledge, and strength, the Dharma, the enlightened side of truth, and the Sangha, the community of realized beings. From the virtuous merit I create from the practice of giving with the understanding of emptiness, moral discipline with the understanding of emptiness, patience with the understanding of emptiness, joyous effort with the understanding of emptiness, concentration and wisdom, may I attain the state of a Buddha for the benefit of all living beings. I go for refuge in time and light to the Buddha, compassion, knowledge, and strength, the Dharma, the enlightened side of truth, and the Sangha, the community of realized beings. From the virtuous merit I create from the practice of giving with the understanding of emptiness, moral discipline with the understanding of emptiness, patience with the understanding of emptiness, joyous effort with the understanding of emptiness, concentration and wisdom, I will attain the state of a Buddha for the benefit of all living beings. Okay, let's see. Well, let's do our rejoicing. Mike, you're up first. So what do you have to rejoice in today?
Well, today I'm moving up to Sedona, so I have to rejoice about that. And thank you for all your hospitality over the past couple of months. And I dedicate it to everyone being able to be closer to their teachers.
Well, it's been a joy to have you here. We look forward to having you in the future, and I hope Art is ready for the trip up to Sedona. Art is his cat, who
He'll be
he.
meowing the whole way.
Okay, who's next? Katya, you're up next.
Hi, everybody. I want to rejoice in my dad's generosity. I have an uncle that needs to have a surgery, and my dad offered to help him with some of the expenses because he doesn't have enough money in this moment. And I want to rejoice in my dad's generosity and also my uncle's kindness because I know that he's having this help because of his good deeds in the past.
Very good. Exactly. That's how it works. That's really, yeah, that's got to be very rewarding. Okay. Um, who's next? Lydia, you're up next.
Hello, dear Lama Sumati. Hello, everybody. My daughter a little bit ill, some virus, and I'm rejoicing that I'm caring about her every day. And we went to the doctor, and we went to the street to walk. So some fun with her while she's at home instead of school.
How old is she?
She's 8.
8. Well, I hope she feels better. Okay.
Thank you.
Next is Svetlana.
Hello, everyone. Hello, dear Lama Sumati. I'd like to rejoice in my efforts to help colleagues in the business tasks, although maybe my support was not very resultive in a precise moment, but I am rejoicing that I am putting some efforts and even just attention or care to their business tasks and dedicate these efforts that everyone can be successful, wealthy, and prosperous on their path to the enlightenment.
Very good. It's important to remember that when we're doing rejoicing, we're putting it in the context of what the behavior we're rejoicing about is going to do for our future life. And that's the whole point in doing the rejoicing, in my opinion, is to be aware of what you're doing now and how it's going to affect your future life. So, okay, Anna, how about you?
Hello, dear Venerable Sumati. Can you hear me?
Yes,
In English channel, yes?
yes.
Oh, thank you. About my rejoicing, I rejoice about, I have a group of people who are visiting nursing home and spend time with old people.
Если про меня, да? Я за рулем сейчас, но я очень хочу
I'm
принять
driving,
участие
it's about me. I'm driving, but I all want to take part. Hello to everyone. Hello, dear teacher. I'm glad that I have so wonderful children. And today I was at class with Venerable Gyelse, and it was the last class, and I don't know, it's real magic. There was a meditation, and I rejoice that I can tell my friends about these teachings, that these teachings are existed, and I ask advices, and I use all these knowledges. And I paint a picture, and I showed my picture to my teacher, and my teacher was very glad, and I was crying from rejoicing, and Venerable Gyalsa said that I need to see my feelings another way, and I stopped to cry and start to rejoicing, and I am glad that I can join this class. Thank you so much that you teach us.
Well, you're welcome. Gelse is a wonderful teacher. Okay. Anna, you're rejoicing.
Well, so I can continue in English channel about my rejoicing. I have a group of people who are visiting a nursing home, and I rejoice that so many people want to do this. You know, in my country, nursing home, it's not too pleasant place, really, even if it's private, it's not a place where people want to be. But so many people in my group want to visit and even argue like, oh, we have so many people, we need to find one more car to go. So I really rejoice that so many people want to spend time with old people and devote their time, their efforts to this process. Thank you.
Good. Very good. That's nice to have so many people who need to have another car. That's really wonderful. That's great work. Okay, Katerina, what do you have to rejoice in? Katerina? There you go. I don't hear anything. I'm still not hearing anything. Huh.
Sorry, I also can't hear Katerina in Russo, English. Oh, just a minute.
Здравствуйте всем. Анна,
Hello,
спасибо за
everyone.
помощь. Серьезно, спасибо большое. Я хочу порадоваться тем
I want to
моментам
rejoice
в течение дня, когда
the
у меня на
moments
работе
around the
получается
day
вспоминать о том,
when
что
I
то, что
have
я увижу,
possibility,
это моя
when I
проекция,
work,
и
and I have
вспоминать о том,
possibility to
что
remember that
люди,
all
которых
what
я
I see,
вижу,
it's only my
дети,
projection,
и
all these people,
они зафиксированы,
children,
они постоянно меняются. То
and
есть они
they
держатся
are
за
changing
то, какими
every
я их видела
moment.
вчера,
I
и
remember
просто быть доброжелательной без
how
критики,
I
как
saw
я
them
всегда вспоминала
yesterday
Сумати и
and
его
how I see
warmth
them
замечательную
now,
помощь.
and I just
И
want to
спасибо тебе за
think with
отношения,
warm
что они
about
видят
them
мои чувства,
and just to think
что
how I
они
can help
больше, что
them
они хотят учиться и более доброжелательны ко
and
мне.
to think
Радость
that
работы,
they want
когда я
to
вижу
teach
это
and be more understandable for them.
Good, good. Okay, Evgeny, do you have anything to rejoice in?
Всем здравствуйте. Я надеюсь, меня слышно.
Hello everyone, I hope you can hear me.
Я хочу порадоваться
I
первое
want
за
to
Майка,
rejoice
за то, что он
firstly
переезжает в
about
Седону,
Mike,
как он
that
сказал.
he
Я очень за него рад.
moves to Sedona. I am very happy about him.
И я хочу порадоваться за свою
And I
подругу.
also want to rejoice about my friend.
Она живет в Германии 7
She
лет.
lives in Germany near
7 лет
7
находится
years,
замужем.
and 7 years she is married.
И 6 лет из совместной жизни с мужем она хотела завести ребенка, и у нее не
And
получалось.
6 years
Наконец-то это чудо
they
произошло.
are
Я
wanting to
всему
have a
рад.
baby,
И это
and
произошло.
now this
И мне
miracle
кажется,
is
что
happened.
этот ребенок, возможно, Будда.
And
Ну
I
или
think maybe
просветленный.
this child is Buddha or maybe an enlightenment being.
Я помогал с кармической точки зрения.
I was helping them from karmic point. And maybe that's all from Evgeny for today.
Okay, well, yay, they've got their baby, and he or she's going to be a Buddha, according to Evgeny. Good. Okay, Oksana, what do you have to rejoice in? Oksana?
Да, здравствуйте. Я хочу поделиться своей
Hello,
радостью.
I want to share my happiness. Oh, sorry, bad internet.
У меня сегодня мама, я ей внучке, к моему внуку и к своему правнуку. Вот. Ну, в общем, она
Today
всех
I, with my
поздравила.
mom,
Я
visited
очень рада, потому что я ребенком очень
her
мало вижу, мы в
grandchild,
разных
and
странах живем. Вот, и мама поехала. Что вот, я радуюсь.
we live in different countries, and my mom will see her grandchildren. I'm glad that I can connect them. And maybe that's all from Oksana.
Well, it's good. Family connections are something we take for granted. And I think it's very, very important to not take things for granted. I never thought in my older age that I would not be anything but able to do what I wanted to do and travel. And so I took for granted that would be the case. And well, now it's not so much. So, okay, what do I have to read? Did I cover everybody? I think so. What do I have to rejoice in? Hmm. Oh, I've been asked to be part of the program up in Phoenix, much to my surprise. So I've agreed to be one of them, help with one of the master classes. I'm not quite sure why I was asked, but I said yes for once. So, and I'm going to be on stage with Venerable Jigme. That's going to be quite an honor. I consider her to be one of the really wonderful practitioners we have in our Sangha. So I'm going to be a little embarrassed to be on the stage with her, but we'll see what happens. So, what else? I'm still searching for my next Dharma project, and I haven't decided. I want to get the Vow app working again, but I don't have the skills to do that. So maybe I'll start another list of things. Well, I know. I rejoice. I got up. I slept. I didn't get to sleep until 3, and I slept until 8:30. And I rejoice that I didn't panic, that I wasn't ready for class. I just went about getting ready, and everything worked out pretty well. So it's nice. It was just nice not to panic and worry about what was going to happen. I did the best I could, and I think class is going to be fine. But when you wake up late, there's a certain amount, to me, there's a certain amount of panic. And I'm just really glad that I, I put it all in perspective. So here we go. Okay. So, I know the other thing I needed to mention. We have, this is class 9 and 10 is Monday, and 11 is the review class. So how many people are taking the course for credit? Because I usually have them help me with the review. So Mike, you're taking it for credit, correct? Okay. Mike. And Lydia, you're taking it for credit? Okay. So Lydia, what I do is I assign questions from the final to each of the students that are taking it for credit, and we rotate through. And if you can use the answer key as your answer, if you can come up with an answer in your own words, that would be excellent. So who else is going to take it for credit? Well, I'm going to nominate Katya and Svetlana to help with the question because I don't want to do all of them. Okay, so we got Katya and Svetlana. That'll be good. Okay. So you all see this sharing, right? Okay. Okay. So we're studying the Song of My Spiritual Life, and it's really a remarkable text. We go through the first couple of verses, and then we get a little bit diverted. So let's go ahead and get started with that. I'm going to read the first verse. So I'd like you to just, it's not long. I'd like you to get comfortable, close your eyes, and just try and listen. I'll say it slowly. Just try and listen. After having done this, see that the very foundation of an excellent start for all the good in this and your future lives is the Holy Spiritual Guide who teaches you the path. Make efforts to rely on him or her properly in your thoughts and in your actions. Please them with the offering of carrying out their very instruction. And never give it up, not even at the cost of your life. I, the master meditator, lived my life this way. You who seek for freedom must try to do the same. So this is focusing our attention on perhaps the most critical part of your path toward enlightenment. And this verse is so powerful. This is like Ken Rinpoche said, if all you had on a desert island was the source of all my good, or the three principal paths, as Lam Rims, they contain everything you need to know to get enlightened. So this verse is powerful, so powerful that even if all you ever practice, you would make great stride. Your relationship with your Lama is crucial and that powerful. If you focus on your relationship and doing it right, it will be the pivotal moment of the start of your escape from samsara. We must find and relate properly to this true, deep spiritual guide. So I found something called the six conceptions, which kind of relates to something Master Shantideva said. So I wanted to just briefly go through the six conceptions. So think of yourself as a sick person. Think of the Dharma as medicine. Think of your spiritual teacher as a skilled physician. Think that practicing the Dharma intently will cure your illness. To think of the Tathagata, Lord Buddha, as a holy being, and to wish the Dharma might remain for a long time. So think of yourself as a sick person. You live in samsara. You're perpetuating your samsaric existence. So that's the illness. Think of the Dharma as medicine. The Dharma, as we're learning in this particular set of classes, is how to get ourselves out of samsara. Think of your spiritual teacher as a skilled physician. Your spiritual teacher, your spiritual guide, your lama, whatever term you want to use, like a skilled physician, knows what is necessary for your progress on the path. Now, could you make progress on the path without a spiritual teacher, without a lama? Yes, but it would take so long and you go down so many wrong paths that you basically have to say to yourself, admit to yourself that you need a spiritual guide. You need someone like a skilled physician who can analyze where you are on the path and prescribe solutions, practices. So if you're in practicing that Dharma intently, will cure your illness, the illness of samsara and repeated cycling in samsara. So think of Lord Buddha as a holy being. That's not hard. To wish the Dharma might remain for a long time. It's up to us to have the Dharma remain for a long time. It's our karma to have the Dharma in our life now. It's not there self-existently. It's up to us to keep it going. The bottom line is you must find that person or persons whom you can trust to show you the path to set you free. There are heart lamas, there are root lamas, there are meditation lamas, there are yoga lamas. Don't be shy in having multiple lamas. But if you're going to ask someone to be your lama, then you need to follow their advice and their suggestions. So how do we find a lama? They are looking for us too, but they're probably not sending us emails. That was a joke. So it's interesting you think of your lama looking for you. I find that intriguing. Okay. How do we figure out if they're qualified to be my lama? Well, we've gone through this many a time, but here we go. They're disciplined, dulwa, they're disciplined, controlled, they're keeping the 3 sets of vows. If they're not living an ethical life, they will only hurt you or waste your time. A real tantric master can appear as a normal human being. So don't let their outside appearance fool you. But they have to show you that they have discipline. They're at peace. The second of the 3 extraordinary trainings, concentration. They're really near Shiva, really peaceful. The third extraordinary training, a broad understanding of emptiness, not necessarily the direct perception of emptiness. Spiritual qualities far exceed those of the student. Compassion and wisdom practices. Shunche, dedicated to 2 goals, the ultimate benefit for themselves and the ultimate benefit for others, total enlightenment. You see that all of their energy is focused on these 2 goals. Lung Kichuk, they have mastered the 3 baskets, Vinaya Sutra and Abhidharma, or ethics, concentration, and wisdom. Deni Rabtok, ideally they'd had the direct perception of emptiness. So how would we know that? The way they describe it is consistent with your previous study on the subject. Their behavior is to seek to help all beings. And you see it clearly. They're teaching emptiness and karma as 2 sides of the same coin. Ma ke den. ability to grasp the capacity of the student and teach toward that capacity, even in a mixed audience. They teach at the right speed for any capacity student. If you teach too quickly, they'll confuse. If you teach too slowly, they'll lose interest. This implies that the one-on-one relationship is actually the ideal. And that's true. The ideal relationship is not teaching in groups, but teaching one-on-one. And with Zoom, that's quite possible. It's not wrong to be teaching a group, but often the one-on-one relationship will allow you to really dig into the problems the student has and the problems with the Dharma. The motivation for them teaching is purely out of love and compassion, and it's not motivated by material gain or fame. I've never charged for any teaching I've done. I don't intend to. I even usually don't charge, and I don't. When I prepare written material, I just give that away as well. And number 10, Yewa Pang, never gets impatient with students, never tired of repeated explanations or difficult teaching. I wonder how course 13 fits into that for me. I have to think about that. I've always maintained the only dumb question is the one you don't ask. If you say, I did that, I didn't want to bother you. I'll let you know if you're bothering me. So please, if you have questions, ask. Don't be shy. I can't answer. I can't help you if I don't know what help you need. I'm not an totally enlightened being coming down here to help you that I'm aware of. And I think if I was a totally enlightened being, I know it. So I don't know what you're thinking, and you don't know what I'm thinking, which is probably good. So ask away. I'm here as a resource. If I don't know the answer, I'll try my best to find an answer for you. Okay. So I found this list in the back of the three pencil paths, and I found this much more comforting for me. So then, at the very least, the teacher must focus more on the Dharma than that of the things of the world. So just putting this in perspective for me. Yes, I spent a lot of time writing my books on missile technology. I've written those books because I wanted the people involved in developing, not the bomb and killing people, but the incredible technological effort that goes into designing these things. I wanted that to be known to the world and rejoice in that. And because I have the karma to have apparently been essentially an engineer in my past lives. And so I get to see that ripening as an interest now in a subject I really can't participate in except by writing. So my motivation was dharmic. They must focus more on the concerns of their future life than those of the present one. Well, I teach the past is your present, the present is your future, and I focus what I'm doing in every day on that, and I try and have you focus on that. So I think I meet this criteria. They must focus more with helping others than helping themselves. I try pretty hard to do that. They're never careless in what they do, say, or think. I tell too many jokes. That might be considered careless. I don't know if I shared with you. I went down to South Africa 4 years in a row to teach. And it was the first year I went down, no, second year I went down, and I decided that one of my talks, I would not tell any jokes. And after the class, several students came up and said, please tell your jokes. They make the course, the teaching much more interesting. So I'm trying not to be careless by telling too many jokes. I don't know what jokes they were talking about because I didn't have Parkinson's at that point, so they weren't the Parkinson's joke. Huh. Okay. They never lead their disciples along a path which is mistaken. Now we'll get back to that in a little bit. So remember this. Your Lama is your only connection to the Buddhas. Now, this statement somewhat mystifies me because that seems to imply I have a direct connection to Lord Buddha. If I do, I'm not aware of it. Finding them and being in their presence wears out enormous amounts of karma, so you must think of them and treat them in a very special way. Now, there's a caveat to this that is a tantric vow, but I think it's okay for me to talk about it. If you're one of my students and we're in the presence of Geshe Michael or any other highly realized being, teacher, it's important that they be your focus of attention. Because we have a vow not to have our students be treating us in a respectful way to the how can I put it? So you come into the room, I'm there, and Geshe Michael's in the room. It's inappropriate for you to bow to me without having bowed to him first. Treat your Lama as a normal person, they would become that very quickly. They appear as normal. That's the only way we can relate to them. They're doing us a kindness to appear in a way we can comprehend. So that's an interesting point. Treat yourself, treat your Lama as a normal person. So this relates back to what happened at the lake in Mexico in January with Sheila. You had to be there to experience the incident, but it makes me laugh. Well, I've shared with you already that I didn't feel. What made me laugh about that was the look on her face when she realized that she had slapped me on the shoulder. It was, oh my God. That was worth the admission price. Okay. Our karma is what creates them. They're not self-existent. Any good you see in them is your projection. Any bad you see in them is your projection. And it all comes from your past deeds. We know that. We say that. We think that. But if you see me or any other teacher do something you don't understand and think is wrong, instead of thinking, well, Sumati just did something wrong, you should think to yourself, what karma is ripened for me to see my teacher do something which I think is wrong? It's your past deeds doing that. So keep it in perspective. That's one of the hardest things to do with the teacher, is to keep it all in perspective. Doubt in your Dharma burns up lots of karma. There's no Lama out there from his or her own side, independent of your karma, to see them. When you do find your blood brother or sister, do not hesitate. Don't put it off for 6 months or whatever. Go to them in a responsible way. The tradition is you ask 3 times for someone to be your Lama. If the Lama sees themselves as having these 10 qualities, where do the qualities come from? The fact that they see themselves as someone who keeps their vows well, etc., comes from their own karma projections from their own Lama devotion in the past. If a student looks at the same person, where do their qualities come from? Equally from good Lama devotion in the past. One conundrum with the relationship you have with a Lama is when a student sees faults and the Lama sees themselves as a totally enlightened being. The more pure a student's karma, the more purely they will see their Lama. The term Lama devotion means serving your Lama in a myriad of ways. This is the most precious gift you can receive. Okay, so Lama devotion. That's kind of a touchy subject. Well, it's difficult because well, for instance, for me, I need help more than I used to. And I'm really reluctant to ask people to help me because I don't want to inconvenience them. Part of it used to be ego for me. I didn't want to have to depend on anybody else. But now I do. And when my wife goes to Malaysia for what's going to essentially be 2 weeks, that'll be the first time I'm basically alone to take care of my inability to do certain things. So I'm actually interested to see how well I'll do. I have a good friend, one of my students here in Tucson, works from home twice a week, so he'll be able to, wherever his computer is, that's where he's working. So he'll be able to come and spend a day or two during that time. But I'm not worried about it. I'm just curious how well I'm going to do. So, and I have a couple of trips coming up. I have a trip in April that I'm going on by myself, and one in August. So we'll see. Okay. So the body of leisure is more valuable than a jewel which grants every wish. And now is the only time that you have found such a life as this. So let's go over the leisures. not to hold wrong view, not believe in karma. You don't. So these are examples of double negatives, which drive me nuts. But this is the way it's described. You not believe in karma and future lives. So double negative means you believe in karma and future lives. Not born as an animal, that's a leisure. Not born as a craving spirit, not born in the health, not born in a land where the Dharma is not available, not born in an undeveloped land where morality is not kept, not born as a human with impaired faculties, not born as a pleasure being in a temporary paradise. A pleasure being in a temporary is in a paradise that's temporary because when their good karma runs out, they go to the hell realms. And when they're in their paradise, they're not thinking of others. They're just enjoying themselves. So you don't want to be reborn as a pleasure being. If when you die, that option appears to you, don't follow it. So then we go into the 10 fortunes. Whoops. The 10 fortunes. There are 5 for this yourself and 5 for others. So the 10 fortunes, you're born as a human. You're born in a central land where people keep morality. You have all your faculties. This means you're not blind or deaf or impaired mentally. You've not committed one of the 5 heinous crimes. Who can remember what the heinous crimes are? Katya, remember the 5 heinous crimes? I'll give you the first one. Not killing your father or mother. What's the next one?
The no divisions. The sigma.
I'm sorry, say that again.
I don't remember.
Okay, so the 5 heinous crimes. Not killing your mother or father. Now I'm spacing on them. Not killing your mother or father. Not killing an arhat. Not drawing blood from a Buddha. And not dividing the Sangha. Now, why would dividing the Sangha be the most important one? Because the list is least to the most important. Because if you divide a Sangha, you're stopping the ability to spread the Dharma in that environment. And that's the most important thing, is to spread the Dharma. So, can I commit the 5 heinous crimes? Well, I could kill my mother and father. I can't. They're already dead. So, good. I don't have to worry about that heinous crime. And killing an arhat, I don't know who's an arhat. So, obviously, I don't want to kill anybody for a variety of reasons. Drawing blood from a Buddha, again, just don't do anything that even remotely comes to that. The division, the 5 heinous crimes, actually, dividing the Sangha, relates specifically to the original Sangha Lord Buddha had. And I think it's fairly obvious that I can't divide that Sangha, and they're 2,500 years past. So instead of thinking I don't have to worry about that heinous crime, I bring it to the present and say, I can't cause division in the Sangha. So I have to be careful not to be critical of decisions that are made within what I consider to be the Sangha I belong to, which is Diamond Mountain and aspects of Sedona. So this is an example of where I try and take something that is, it seems not possible for me to be involved in, like I can't divide the Sangha, the traditional original Sangha, but I can bring that vow or that concern forward into my life now and make sure I don't divide the Sangha or Sanghas I belong to. And it doesn't take much to do that sometimes. For instance, when I was I've talked about this before, when I was on the board of directors at Diamond Mountain, I was very careful not to second guess the board. When we made a decision and I went out and was working in the field and someone came up and said, oh, what do you think of that board decision? I think it's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Instead of saying, I agree with you, which I might, as a board member, I felt I had the responsibility to say that's what the board decided and that's what we're going to do. And I'm 100% behind it. Now, I could have said, I agree with you, it was a dumb idea. I'm trying my hardest to not make it happen. That's dividing the Sangha. So think about when someone asks your opinion, it's not that you can't have an opinion. Of course you can. But it's what you do with that opinion that's important. If you beat someone over the head with your opinion, that's not the correct way of doing it. What you do is you give your opinion and you let it go. More than once, I gave my opinion at a board meeting and it was either ignored or, well, basically ignored. And that used to bother me until I realized that my job was to give my opinion and then not make a big deal about it, whether people accepted it or not. And I think that has to do with ego. That has to do with, for me, with these 5 heinous crimes. Okay. Then you have faith in the teachings. Then there are the 5 fortunes outside of self. Live in a world where a Buddha has come. This is one of the 10 fortunes we don't have, because this relates to living in a world where the Buddha is present. And we don't have that. Maitreya hasn't shown up yet. We do live in a world where his teachings have been spoken by others, where they've not been lost yet, where they're still practiced, and where practitioners are supported. In essence, to realize how rare and special it is to be a human and have the capacity and desire to study the Dharma. So you can realize this in several steps. Realize how rare it is to be in a class studying the Dharma so thoroughly. having the 18 ACI courses is extraordinary. Good karma, absolutely extraordinary. Realize how you have to complete this regimen of courses and teach. To take the essence of this life means we need to contemplate our impermanence and what we're going to do about it. You start by taking refuge, protection from your suffering life, and our ignorant actions which perpetuate it. In our case, refuge, our protection, is in the concepts of karma and emptiness, and that we can use the pratimoksha vows and later the bodhisattva and tantric vows to change our behavior and generate the merit to progress along the path. You need to keep the vows in that perspective. Our current goal is to attain the virtue necessary for the direct perception of emptiness. And this involves the ethical way of life that we're working on in this course. So when we take refuge in the three jewels, we take refuge because we're afraid of something. We think something can protect us. Now, as I related before, the protection cords you get at a teaching aren't going to prevent a car from hitting you if you step out in front of it. That's not the type of protection I'm talking about when I talk about protection. The protection I'm talking about is our knowledge, our budding knowledge, for those of you that are new to the practice, and for those of you that have been practicing it for a long time. Our protection is in the knowledge that our past is our present is our future, the why and how of karma ripening. That's what's protecting us. So the Buddha jewel. The Buddha jewel, the nominal Buddha jewel are statues, pictures, and paintings. The actual Buddha jewel is the Dharmakaya, the emptiness of a Buddha, which you meet on the path of seeing. The Dharma jewel, nominal Dharma jewel, the books, the scriptures, and tapes. I think it's kind of funny I mentioned tapes. I don't think, are any of you old enough to remember what a cassette tape looks like? How about 8-track tapes? That's for music. High quality music came on 8-track tape cartridges. When we first started studying the courses, we got 2 enormous boxes, and I'm saying they were at least 1 meter long, half a meter wide, and half a meter deep. And they were full of the binders and the cassette tapes for the teachings. And that was, now they just give you an email address and you go and download it off the internet. There's a lot to be said for listening to the old tapes. And that's actually one thing for those of you that listen to the tapes instead of getting a in live teaching. The tapes for the first, I'm not sure how many courses, the first 3 or 4 courses was noisy. People were interrupting Geshe, and he had some students that were at least as knowledgeable as he, and I think they were jealous that he was teaching the course and they weren't. And the respect, all of a sudden, they get to a course where it's quiet and the students have, don't interrupt him. Okay. Cessations such as no longer believing things are self-existent. And the Sangha jewel, nominal would be the monks and nuns. That's what most people think of when you use the term Sangha. Anyone who has seen emptiness directly, I think of the Sangha as anybody who's studying Buddhist philosophy and that I've been involved with. It's just not the people at Diamond Mountain or Sedona. It's anybody I touch base with teaching. Once you have the direct perception of emptiness, you become two of the three jewels. How does this help? The direct perception of emptiness will show us how everything in our world is nothing more than our projections. You will then start to act in ways to bring this about for yourself and by default others around you. So once we have the direct perception of emptiness, then you work hard to understand that that's what you're seeing, in the sense that you can do something about it by not perpetuating the very things you want to get rid of. So next comes what to take up and what to give up. Within this is the teaching on purification, the four powers, the practice by which we can remove obstacles created by our past ignorance. Can we really wipe out all negative karma? Doesn't the fourth law of karma state that a deed once undertaken must ripen into a result? Yes, it does. But unless you do the four powers of purification properly to mitigate or even completely erase it. Now, I am mystified why when I taught these classes before, I really stopped and thought about it. The last law is I hate to say incorrect, but we don't usually teach you with the comma unless you do the four powers of purification. I should. The Dhammapada Sutra says that you can short circuit your old bad karma from that of a hell room result to that of a bad headache. Tsongkhapa explains it further in the Song of My Spiritual Life. The four opponent forces done well daily can wipe out great amounts of negativity. It is retroactive refuge. And that's why we incorporate it into the preliminaries before meditation. Refuge is not doing deeds now, so our future is bright. The four opponent forces work on past deeds that you now understand were wrong and you want to fix. So there's the basis force, refuge and bodhicitta, the foundation that we push up against to get back up. This is a reference to a solid foundation in a house. If you have a good foundation in a house, what you build on the foundation will be strong and nice to live in. So with refuge and bodhicitta, the core of our belief, then we know what we must do to fix the problem we have. Regret. So I remember these as the 4 R's. Refuge, regret, restraint, and remedy. Now sometimes regret and refuge are interchanged. Regret, the intelligent regret of an educated Buddhist. This is the logical knowledge that you planted a seed that is causing you suffering now or in the future. You deeply wish you could take it back. There are no excuses. Restrain yourself. Restraint, not doing the bad deed in the future based on this intelligent regret. Choose a realistic time frame in which you avoid the deed, or you're lying to yourself. And as we know, lying is not something It's one of the 10 non-virtues. Antidote or activity, remedy, action to make up for the past misdeed. Recite holy names like 35 Buddhas. Recite holy mantras. Study or read scriptures. Meditate on emptiness. Make offerings to holy objects. And use holy images. I don't know if any of you have ever seen what are called satsas, TSA, TSA. Those are the little, it's not always little. Often they're the little statues that are about this big out of plaster of Paris. Sometimes they're big plaques. Lama Zopa used to assign his students the task of making 1,000 satsas. And they have these molds, and you put the plaster of Paris in, you let it dry, and you take them out of the mold. So that's what they're talking about with holy images. So I have some points to ponder here. Do we really believe that we could be reborn in the lower realms? Well, we see animals, but we don't see pretzels or hell beings. We see how animals suffer, constantly on guard for something attacking them. I often wonder what it would be like if there were dragons flying the air that could attack and kill large populations. We are really fortunate. What were we doing? Oh, Mike and I were, and my lovely wife were doing a fire puja purification about what's going on in the United States. And a helicopter went over. And we all rejoiced in the fact that in this country, for the everyday citizen, the sound of a helicopter usually means it's a helicopter from a hospital that's flying a very sick patient up to Phoenix or bringing someone in from that was hiking in the Grand Canyon. But we don't think it's going to land and arrest us. But now, with what's going on with the immigration and customs, ICE people, I'm not worried. I don't look Hispanic, but I'm concerned with my friends and students that are Hispanic that might be just pulled off the street. I am concerned about that. When my karma for this life wears out, the next karma, the projecting karma that ripens, will establish the realm of my next life, and then finishing karma fills in the detail. When I rolled my truck and I thought I was about to die, my thought, a thought that formed in my head was, as the truck rolled, I thought, well, now I'm about to find out. I wasn't scared. Interestingly enough, I was actually looking forward to finding out what's next. And so when the truck came up on all four wheels with the engine running, I thought, wow, my Buddha paradise looks like Diamond Mountain. And here I've been there. I've been at Diamond Mountain all these years and didn't realize it was my Buddha paradise. So my first thought as I rolled my truck wasn't a bad thing, wasn't some habit I had from the past, wasn't did I wish my lovely wife a pleasant day and tell her I loved her before I left. It was, here I am, what's next? And that's encouraging to me. And I think that's it's a healthy way of looking at what's coming next. We don't know what will arise at that moment, but to bet it will be virtuous without working hard towards that goal is foolish. So if you have hate, anger, or cruelty, you will be born into a realm of constant, extreme hatred, anger, and cruelty, which one could consider to be the hell realm. I personally think that Gaza, the people in Gaza are living in a hell realm. They don't know when they're going to have enough water or food. Craving, desire, and attachment, a world of inability to be satisfied. Dullness, ignorance, fear, or causing fear in others. Fearful, chaotic. That would be the animal world. So we end this with one of the parts of Shani Lama's commentary, which I find intriguing. Does samsara have a beginning and end? This is a debate question. They closed the debate for the Geshe degree with this question. Does samsara have a beginning and end? There is no beginning to samsara, but there is an end. Chanel adds, it's not odd to posit that a thing cannot have an observable beginning and yet have an observable end. For example, every seed for every plant came from an earlier plant, which grew from a seed from an earlier plant, and so on. There's never an observable first seed, and yet each seed will go out of existence. I find that very intriguing. He also states that samsara is based on a lie. This is a powerful statement. It is based on a wrong view of how things exist and where things come from. Lies are unstable, and sooner or later wisdom and truth will prevail, and you'll see the lie as a lie. So all beings have hope to achieve the end of their suffering. That's one of the many factors of Buddhism that I like. Yes, it talks about all the comically stupid things we've done and how that's forming our present life. But I think there's a positive note with Buddhism for me. And it says, we have teachings that can train you to run your life in such a way that you will achieve an end to your suffering. And I think that's one of the many things I like about Buddhism. We don't just talk about what's wrong with the world. We have solutions. Okay, that's it for today. So I will assign, let's see, I'll make a list of questions that you'll be answering. I'll give that to you on Monday. Yeah. Okay, well, thank you for coming to class. This stuff is, I don't want to call it boring, it's pretty dry. But put it in the perspective of your daily life, and I think you'll find it's critical to living the life you need to live in order to reach enlightenment in this lifetime or soon thereafter. Never take for granted anything. How can I put this? Oh. Look and see if you're finding yourself complacent. my wife and I and Mike had a very interesting discussion about this. And we came to the conclusion that our complacency has led to our complacency, the assumption that the Supreme Court would do what we consider to be right, that our president would be a generous and loving human being instead of someone who's so hateful. We were complacent because, well, back when I was younger, the head of the Supreme Court at the time was vilified by the other side, political side. They wanted him impeached and put in jail. But he was our hero because he was doing the things that we thought needed to be done in upholding the Constitution. So there was a whole population back in the 60s, 70s, and 80s and 90s that felt the Supreme Court was on the wrong track, just as I feel they're on the wrong track now. So my complacency, my taking for granted that these things would perpetuate throughout my life was wrong. So we need to not be complacent. And I'm not sure. Well, I always ask these questions and I never remember to ask them at the beginning of class. I would be curious. I'd like you each to come up with something that you're complacent about, that you take for granted. Okay, let's dedicate class. What I want to use? Dedicate. May the precious Bodhi mind not yet born arise and grow. May that born have no decline but increase forevermore. May the source of benefit and goodness, the Dharma, spread and expand. May the beings upholding the Dharma have excellent health. May the source of happiness and well-being for all embodied beings, the Dharma, top of the Buddhas, always increase. O Gurus, Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, please listen to what I now say. Just as all the previous Sugatas generated the mind of enlightenment and practiced in accordance with the Bodhisattva precepts, so shall I too, in order to benefit all that live, give birth to bodhicitta and follow its precepts. Thank you for the opportunity to see you again and teach this wonderful material. And we'll see you all on Monday for class 10. Katya, if you can stay on for just a minute. Safe trip, Mike. Okay. Oh, I didn't have Daria.